All right, good evening, everybody. The January 21st, 2025 Hibbing Public Utilities Commission meeting is called to order. All commissioners are present. First item will be adds or deletes. Any adds or deletes?
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
could we get at some point an update just kind of on conditions with the cold weather? Give us an update on any kind of repairs that are taking place or problems that are occurring.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I add that in my ads to item 6E, even though we'll call it a financial item?
R9, new business?
Or, sure, new business.
Thank you.
Any other adds or deletes?
Yes, Chair, I'd like to delete consent item 5F, approve listed requests for contributions for discussion at the next working session. And then I'd like to add item 6D, which is a update to item 5A from the December 17th commission meeting that's updating the invoice register that was presented at that time.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Any other adds or deletes? We'll move on to the next item, will be the approval of the minutes of the December 17th, 2024 commission meeting.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Bayless, support by Commissioner Babbage to approve the minutes of the December 17th meeting. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 4, citizens forum. I don't have anybody. Move on to item number 5, the consent agenda. Item 5A, approve invoices greater than 1,000 and approve the bills and ACH transfers dated December 13, 2024 through January 15, 2025. Item 5B, approve the payroll paid and overtime report for the December 26th to January 9th, 2025 pay date. Item 5C, approve HPU staff travel expense matrix for the fourth quarter of 2024. Item 5D, approve resolution 25-01, deferral of the 2024 vegetation program. Item 5E, approve resolution 25-02, authorizing Hibbing Public Utilities to make application and accept funds from the Iron Range Resources and Rehabilitation Board Public Works Program. Will be the wish of the commission.
Chair, I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda.
Is there support?
I'll support.
Motion by Commissioner Bayless, support by Commissioner Babbage to approve consent agenda items 5A through E. Any further discussion?
Chair,
Yes.
I did have a couple of questions. Maybe should have pulled it, but does the, we had some actions at the last meeting. Are those reflected on the matrix? Did we make some changes that need to be reflected there?
That matrix does need to be updated with the changes that were made at the last.
So can we pull that item? Can I revert? Do I have to revert my
Yeah.
motion back, Andy?
Yeah,
So just to modify it to approve all items except for that matrix?
Yep.
except for 5C.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commissioner Babbage, you still?
I'll pull back or give them a second, whatever.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so our motion's been adjusted to approve consent items A, B, D, and E. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 5C. Mr. Bayless?
Yeah, I don't recall exactly what the motions were. I think they were motions from,
If I could,
Yeah.
Chair, so my understanding is this was all for Q4. So with the updates that were made at the January working session, those would not be in effect for quarter 4 of 2025. 4. It would be going forward after the commission has made that change.
From that time?
Yes.
So this would have been for quarter 4?
Correct. This is required to report to the commission travel and expense, out-of-state travel expenses, overnight travel for the fourth quarter of 2024.
Okay, so just to clarify, that when
Yes.
we approve that, we're approving it for the financials that are in the packet, not the ones that are.
Correct. It
on
is
the next
not
one.
for going forward.
Okay, thank you. Then we don't need to change it now. We'll just change it in the next one. I'll make a motion to approve 5C.
Okay.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Bayless, support by Commissioner Babish to approve item, consent agenda item 5C. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Commissioners, we're 6A. Commissioners, ahead of you is the financial report for the 12 months ended December 2024. For the 12 months ended December 31st, operating income for the utility stands at $276,000. Could we put the income chart on there, Ron? Okay, yeah, the first chart. And commissioners, this is the first operating income, positive income that the utility has generated in recent memory. And remember, these are preliminary numbers, so we are still going into the audit for adjustments that can be made, but very happy to report that since 2019 at least, operating income has always been negative, including last year where we were slightly negative. This is the first year where we are slightly positive on the blue line. And for folks watching it at home, operating income is the base operations of Hibbing Public Utilities, the sum of expenses and revenues for electric, water, gas, and steam. And part of the stabilization of the utility over the last 5 years has really been to focus on making sure we can stem the losses while also managing, investing in our utility and our people to progress to the future. So a lot of work was done by everybody at the utility to create these results, and folks in Hibbing, you should be very proud of the results of the utility over this time period, because this utility is here to stay, and it's here to stay with solid financials, because without that, we cannot operate for you for the future. In addition to the positive operating income, which is very, very good for us, we had operating income as well, which further brings us positive, as well as grants. So as you can look in the financial report, we have over $2.3 million of total net position improvements in 2024 compared to a good year last year of $1.6 million. But that increase of about $600,000 is very, very helpful. And we had budgeted a slight loss for the year, but we had very weak revenues for the heating season last year. Related to Commissioner Sandsted's comments, the cold weather, cold December actually helps our financials, and it helped us bring in the year with that very, very slight positive income, which going into the audit with any kind of write-offs of existing assets on the books, that $275,000 could disappear quickly, but it is something that's very, very positive in a place that hasn't been achieved yet for the utility until this year. So very proud of all the work that goes into it. Remember, these are just numbers. This is an abstraction of the real health going on around the utility. And kudos to all the employees and the community members who have supported this growth throughout the last few years. Because with all this, if we go to the next chart, Ron. Russ is here as well if there's any questions on the financials. Based on our current monthly bill, we're average electric user of 638 kilowatt hours is just over $100. MP in Chisholm would be about 115, and then Lake Country Power would be at 136. So we've been able to maintain positive income while also having the most affordable rates in the very near vicinity. So again, balancing all this has been a huge effort by everybody at the utility. So very positive results. And this is just electric. If we go to the water rates, Ron, on the next image, water is also, so just the raw water costs for an average consumer, about 6,000 gallons a month. Hibbing is about half the cost of Chisholm. So, you know, the HPU should be very proud of these results. Commissioners, excellent job of kind of steering the ship over these last couple of years. We are in new charted territory for the utility, and I would say strong sailing ahead. Now, ratepayers, people watching at home, our rates do have to increase because zero income is not sustainable long-term. But right now, let's just revel in the positive results that we've achieved so far this year.
It's good work.
Yeah, it's good work. A lot of effort by everybody, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. What be the wish of the commission? I'll make a motion to approve the interim financials as support. Support. Motion by Commissioner Hart, support by Commissioner Babbage to approve the interim financials. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all's in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next item will be item 6B, Ansley and First Avenue substation projects. We have some quotes. First item will be approve Lake States Construction LLC to perform feeder exit excavation and cable work for the First Avenue project site not to exceed $150,000. Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Chair Hart. Commissioners, ahead of you is two items to approve for the Ansley and the First Avenue substation projects. These were both budgeted in 2024, and this is for the area outside of the fence of the substation for the feeder entrances and exits. And so you'll find that we have Lake States working at the substation right now, and the decision was made to have them continue on and actually work on the entrances and exits of the substation lines. Also, indirectly, I just want to share an update that the transformers should arrive in February, and we are looking forward to having these energized and ready to go.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. What will be the wish of the commission?
Make a motion to approve.
Support. Motion by Commissioner Stokes, support by Commissioner Bayless to approve Lake States Construction to perform the feeder exit excavation and cable work on the First Avenue project not to exceed $150,000. Any further discussion?
Just one quick question. Is this and the other approvals for financials tonight coming out of 2025 budget or is it already accounted for in 24 or is it coming out of 25?
It would come out of 25 based on where the cash actually is spent. So our budget year is calendar year. So since this is an added, the expenses will be coming out of the door, but it is part of the overall capital budget that was approved for the projects in 2024. So.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all's in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next item will be approve Lake States Construction LLC to perform feeder exit excavation and cable work at the Ansley project site in the amount of $74,533.02. Mr. Peterson?
Commissioners, that's the same item as the other one, just at a different site. So.
What will be the wish of the commission?
Make a motion to approve.
Support.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes, support by Commissioner Bayless to approve Lake States Construction LLC to perform feeder exit excavation and cable work at the Ansley project site, amount of $74,533.02. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item 6C, approve hiring of Gardner Builders Duluth LLC for the administration building window replacement project in the amount of $179,877. Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Chair Hart. You'll see the write-up presented in here where we received multiple quotes for the window project of the admin building. I will just provide a report that it's been between 50 and 60 degrees in a number of the admin building offices, especially those sitting by the windows. If you come by and look at while we're trying to do payroll, Krista has a blanket wrapped around her with a hat on her head. This is the first time I've seen Tammy's hair today. It's been under a hat all day. So I don't want to joke or make light of the situation in the admin building, but As you know, I wasn't really keen on replacing the windows. I think that was pretty clear throughout the summer. This is an absolute necessity, I think, for a healthy workplace at the utility and a permanent investment in the building that we have there, which we will recoup over time.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. What do you wish the commission? I'll make a motion to approve the window replacement. Is there support?
I'll support it.
Motion by Chair Hart, support by Commissioner Bayless to approve window replacement. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Stokes.
Mr. Peterson, could this be because of the HVAC system is not up to par in that?
Absolutely. I mean, there are additional improvements that we need at the building, at the admin building over there. The HVAC improvements, though, will have the best return on investment once we seal the building envelope, which currently is not sealed. And the leaky windows will prevent that HVAC improvement from being effective.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just going to go on the record and state that I don't think this project should be done. Being that we're in the middle of talking about rate increases, I think that we could use this money elsewhere, so I just want that to go on record.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Is there any type of, as far as that HVAC system, what are we doing to move forward on that?
We are working with facilities planning on that, and I think that'd be a great discussion topic to talk about for the 2024 budget. I think we have some items to talk about both for the power plant and the HVAC system that we'll be doing this summer. There was talk about this, if you recall, in the fall, and we had determined that for the immediate last few months of 2024, that it would not be time enough, nor could we put a new HVAC system in the winter. So we wanted to do that in the spring.
And any idea what, just because I don't know what the new HVAC system would cost? I mean, just with anyone's knowledge in the room?
If I could ask Ms. Dickinson, Stephanie, do you remember if there was a budgeted cost we had put there for the HVAC?
Microphone.
Yes, so we had met with Kevin from Woodseth a couple of times in some of the long-range planning for the different facilities at HPU, and low budget item number for replacement of the HVAC system would be around $300,000. We did talk about, though, once we worked on the window replacement project, that there was additionally, we would be able to try to install some reheats, that if we're able to hold the heat in the building, that would serve the different zones in the building better as well. So there was more planning to do and discussions. We've had luck with updating some of the set points on the HVAC system, though, so a full replacement may not be necessary.
Okay. And this is in the budget for 25?
Yeah, if you recall in the capital budget that we discussed at a working session, we have not brought that for final approval yet, so that we'll be discussing that in February. That was slotted in that capital budget that we discussed in the fall.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to say that HVAC system is not only for the winter times, for the summertime. And this last summer, I've gone down the utility, and there's been several times there has been no air conditioning in that building, and it's been absolutely miserable. So I think if there was any money spent, it would go towards that HVAC system instead of windows replacement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Any other discussion? Okay. We'll have a motion and a second. A vote, quick roll call vote. Commissioner Bayless,
In favor.
Commissioner Babbage,
In favor?
Chair Hart, in favor. Commissioner Sampson,
No.
Commissioner Stokes,
No.
thank you. The motion passed for the window upgrade in the amount of $179,877. Next item will be item 6D, the invoice report.
Yeah, Commissioners, I just wanted to thank Commissioner Stansett for bringing this to my attention. It was shortly before the meeting today, just looking at transactions for the month of December. There was an error in the invoice register that was included in the December packet. And in that, according to our risk approval matrix, the Commission needs to approve ACHs and payments greater than $10,000. And what was presented in the month of December was a filter on 15,000. And as a result, the updated invoice register is presented here. I also want to apologize. I just walked this into the meeting, so if the commission would like to review it, by all means, I'm just adding this for kind of a correction to the record for the month of December. After discovering the error, I think we're going to go back and review previous registers as well, just to make sure everything that we need to have had brought to the commission for approval is on there. And this is a normal time of year to do that as we're preparing for the audit. If you remember, last year we had ABDO for the first time, we received a very good audit, and I look forward to that continuing again, and this is appropriate due diligence at the end of the year. And thank you, Commissioner Sandstead, for bringing this up.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Are you looking for action on this or no?
I'll just present this here. We could have more discussion on it. Otherwise, I do feel confident on the report that Tammy ran as being the full register for the month of December.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? If not, we're going to move on to policy and governance. Item 7A, approve recommendation to hire Charlie Karish for lineman apprentice vacancy. Mr. Peterson.
Thank you, Chair Hart. Commissioners, ahead of you is the recommendation to hire Charlie Karish into the permanent apprenticeship vacancy for the line crew. Charlie has been with HPU for 2 years now and is highly regarded and very qualified and fits in well with the crew through his apprenticeship through the Minnesota North Lineman's College. And just very, very pleased to have to recommend him to be a full-time addition to our line crew. Also note that his internship was funded in part with grant funding from the American Public Power Association, which was very, very helpful and very well received. So thank you, American Public Power. You have a new permanent Hibbing lineman recommended for approval by the commission.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. What will be the wish of the commission?
Make a motion to approve.
Support. Support. Motion by Commissioner Bayless, support by Commissioner Babich, to approve the hiring of Charlie Karish for lineman apprentice. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next item. Item B, authorize a letter of understanding with AFSCME, AFL-CIO Local 294 regarding implementing combined electrical and instrumentation departments. Mr. Peterson.
Thank you, Chair Hart. Commissioners, you remember we had a rather robust discussion at the December meeting about the combination of the crews, and part of the discussion at that meeting was to go back to the union and work out a letter of understanding, in which case I'd like to ask President of Local 94, Rich Kamsla, to approach the podium, and also our Human Resources Manager, Stephanie Dickinson, to also come up and discuss the letter of understanding. And as a point, Commissioners, I do have to take off shortly for a previous commitment, so I will be ducking out, but look forward to the team here taking it over the finish line.
Good evening, Commissioners. Since the meeting when we were directed to collaborate on letter of understanding to combine the electrical maintenance and instrumentation work groups, we've had a handful of discussions and engaged individually and collectively with the employees in them work groups, and was able to work through a lot of the questions and concerns that that work group might have, and then come up with the proposed letter of understanding. And Rich, I look to you to maybe give some detail from your perspective as well.
Yeah. Good evening, Commissioners and Chair. The first letter of understanding just deals with the safety aspect of cross-training the existing employees. It's to help them out, learn one side or the other throughout this transition. And the second one is just a standard letter of understanding to put the 2 new jobs into the contract with appropriate wages. I think, like she said, we had like 6-7 meetings between employees and me and Stephanie, and I think this is a good way to go on forward. This was one of the main questions this whole time, was the safety aspect of the transition into the new department.
Okay, any of the commission has questions for Rich or
Yes, I do.
Mr.
Yes, I knew you knew I did.
Expecting it a little bit.
So, clarification. It says the utility shall maintain 2 people on standby, 1 for low voltage and 1 for plant electrician and high voltage. So clarification, there's only 1 individual that's low voltage personnel, correct?
License, correct.
So that
We
means
do have
that,
2 gentlemen in that department right now in instrumentation.
but one's out on long-term sick leave right now, correct?
He's on sick leave, yeah. I don't
So
know
that
if it's-
means that that person would be on standby for 2 years.
Like, he also has been for the last 9 months, yes.
So Commissioner Sanstein and I were in the beginning of this whole thing, and this was the main reason that this was brought up, is that this individual complained he didn't have any family time, and he was tied down because of this standby. So I guess I don't understand why this is acceptable now when it wasn't acceptable back in August when we brought this up.
I think it has, Commissioner, I think it has a lot to do with the transition here. The electricians and stuff, they're not feeling comfortable with the whole aspect of the safety on dealing with the controls, which in the 2 job descriptions doesn't really talk about the controls too much. It's just instrumentation and electrician. You know, there's a lot of issues with, you know, the SIMS, the pollution control, and also just the way Delta V's ran. I mean, I understand what you're saying, Commissioner Stokes, that in the beginning, yes, but also it's something that needs to be done here for a smooth transition into this new department.
And I have to apologize because I think these questions are supposed to be directed more towards the general manager or our HR personnel, because I'm not happy about not being informed about this letter of understanding since we worked on it for a long period of time. And this is the first time when we got this packet that we saw this letter of understanding. And I don't understand why, when we had this worked out in the beginning, why it wasn't acceptable then, but it's acceptable now. And it's sitting wrong with me, so I just wanted to ask those questions, and that's the only one I actually have, so.
Okay. Commissioner Sanstein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So with these letters, do you feel reasonably confident that your concerns over safety are adequately addressed?
Speaking with the employees that it affects, the major concerns of safety have been fixed. And they feel comfortable knowing that, you know, one or the other is not gonna have to work on something that they don't know. And, you know, we'll work on competency lists to make sure that everybody's cross-trained properly and understands something before they're asked to go and do it.
Is there a process in place where you can communicate clearly that everybody is comfortable with the training taking place, and there isn't, or if somebody says, no, I object, I do have a concern, is there an avenue for addressing that?
Yeah, I would believe so with the safety committee and everything else. Each superintendent or foreman is involved in safety committee, so I would believe that there's a line of communication there if they're not comfortable or whatever. And that's why number 3 on that letter of understanding actually includes talking with the superintendent, the foreman, or the crew leader, and the employee himself to work together to cure whatever issues they could come up with, so.
Okay, thank you.
I just, excuse me, sorry. So right now, how many people are down there with the training to do this? You know, we have, as far as I know, we have 1 instrumentation, another instrumentation that's out, and then 2 high voltage.
Yeah, you have 2 journeyman licensed electricians, and then the 2 instrumentation guys.
But technically, one of the instrumentation guys isn't gonna be there.
Well, he's on sick leave.
Okay, so I guess just and maybe this is what Commissioner Stokes is bringing up is, and again, sorry that I'm
No, you're good.
throwing this at you guys and not over there. But, I just still don't, I'm not understanding because I felt like there was a major issue with, for the last year about there only being one person on instrumentation. And now we're doing exactly what I've been, all this turmoil has been, I don't understand, I just don't understand what's going on. And I guess from your guys' standpoint, from the four of you, from you and the four gentlemen that are affected, everyone is fine with this?
If this is gonna help move us forward, they're happy with it. They have been asking for an employee for quite a while now, and it's been put into this combination of cruises where we've been struggling for the last 9 months.
And then we do have an open position for the supervisory role, right? Correct?
Correct.
Would that, have we had anything there, like interviews, anybody, possibly any candidates?
We did have a qualified individual who applied that we discussed at the working session, and we've reached out to schedule an interview and haven't heard back yet.
Okay. Because again, I just really concerned about the one instrumentation guy for, I don't know, ever. So, all right, thank you.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
What will be the wish of the commission?
I'll make the motion to approve.
For support?
Before that motion is, are we voting on both of them together or one separately?
Well, however you want to do it, I would accommodate.
Thank you, Commissioner Bayless. I think we should separate them.
Separately? Okay. Which item number is that?
It'd be LOU 2025-01.
There we go. All right, I'll make the motion to approve LOU 2025-01.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Bayless, support by Commissioner Stokes to approve the letter of understanding 2025-01. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Roll call vote, Commissioner Bayless,
In favor?
Commissioner Babbage,
Opposed?
Chair Hart in favor, Commissioner Sandsted,
In favor.
Commissioner Stokes.
Opposed.
Motion carried. Next item.
Can I make a comment or no?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say that my biggest thing right now was that we did not have the gentleman here that I wanted to ask questions to for this, which was disappointing. Thank you, Chair.
Chair Hart, I'd like to add to that if I could.
Yep, go ahead.
So, Rich, I apologize for putting you in the hot seat on this. I think this should be something that the general manager should have handled. So, and he conveniently left at this time. So I just wanted to apologize and let you know that this was a problem from the beginning, was this standby, and the time this individual was going to spend on standby, and nothing got resolved there as far as I'm concerned. That's why I voted against it. I just want to make that clear. I agree with the policy and everything. I just disagree with what happened there. I agree. So, yeah, thank you. Yep, thank you.
Okay, next item will be letter of understanding 2025-02.
Motion to approve.
Is there support?
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Bayless, support by Commissioner Stokes to approve the letter of understanding 2025-02. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next item will be to item 7C, approve updates to the following steam customer policies. First update will be steam installations, updating that policy. What will be the wish of the commission?
I think we have Paul for some info.
Oh, wait, I didn't know Paul was gonna come up. Hey, Paul.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, Commissioners. Before you, I have two of our steam policies that, if you look at the dates, they are roughly 20 years old, so it's time for some updating on them. The first policy before you, I believe they're two separate things, so we'll go through that. That's a steam service installation. Originally, they had that if a new person wanted to have a steam service installed, they would have to foot the cost of the whole manhole themselves, concrete, rebar, everything like that. That was removed. We also took out some language that doesn't apply anymore and aligned it more with what the services are that we have now, where if you cut into a gas line, we would provide the hot tap for that, the tap services, so it more aligns with what we currently do with other utility services.
Thanks, Paul. What do you wish the commission?
Make a motion to approve.
There's support.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes, support by Commissioner Sandsted to approve the policy change to steam installations. Any further discussion?
Just one quick question. Is this gonna cost the ratepayers anything different than it currently is, or is it gonna cheapen it?
If a new customer actually decides that they want to put a steam service in, this would save them money because we're removing that requirement to have a manhole in there. I mean, ideally, that's something that we need to have access to, so we didn't feel it was fair to foot the bill onto the customer. So as of right now, there's no financial obligation. This is just simply a policy update.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item will be the steam service material update.
Okay, before you is yet another one that is over 20 years old. It's the service materials that we have in there. We got together with our heat crew foreman. Currently, we don't only use black pipe for condensate. They use a lot of copper and other materials. And we do understand, there are more materials such as polyethylene or PVCs that could potentially work. So we put into the engineering department's hands too for that. But we added different materials that the steam services and condensate services could be made out of for this policy update. Again, no financial obligations or responsibilities, just simply updating it for this decade.
What would be the wish of the commission?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll
Sorry.
second.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes, support by Commissioner Sandsted to approve the steam service material update. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, Paul, for the next meeting, can we have the review of the condensate return line policies for residential and commercial? And see how old those are and see if they needed updated, because that's what I originally asked for at, I believe, the working session.
For the actual hooking up of the lines and
Yeah, I believe there was a financial cost to the commercial businesses downtown to hook up to our main condensate return.
I may have to reach out to you on that, Commissioner, because
Okay.
I was not able to find that policy.
Okay, all right, thank you.
But I will reach out to you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Any old business? Hearing none, we'll move on to new business. Commissioner Sandsted?
I am just curious if we could get an update or a report on water line breaks, steam pipes broken with this extreme cold weather recently. I have received some calls from a few people in town. I'm just wondering, first of all, how expansive is this? Where are these, happening? And, excuse me, but I also want to say thank you to the crews that are out there working on these repairs.
I can speak to the steam and the gas crews. They have been for the past couple days going through separate neighborhoods. There were some steam flow issues, so they were going into people's homes, finding various items that were wrong, not always with our system. I believe one lady's motorized valve wasn't working, so they helped her with that. A thermostat wasn't working in another lady's house, so they brought her in the right direction. When it gets this cold, sometimes the lines are trying to draw so much steam through at a time that the traps will start filling up with water as well, so they're bleeding a lot of traps down. For the most part, they've got a handle on it now, so we should be in a good spot. The power plant is running like it should.
Okay. And how about water lines?
The water lines, I am not sure on. I do not have that information. I apologize.
I called in a break at Highway 37 at Hughes Road. It got fixed within like 24 hours, which was awesome. So,
Any knowledge about Tapala and 25th?
I do not. I'm sorry.
Stephanie, you know anything about it? Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you. Anything with this, blizzard that's about to hit Florida and Texas and Louisiana, like as far as the gas purchasing? Do
I
you see
just-
anything there?
Yeah, I just met with World Connect Energy Services this morning. There are, if you want to call them our gas brokers, so we have the rest of our gas bought and paid for the rest of January. The discussion's more, we're towards February in case this same situation happens again in February. We usually have one big meeting a month prior to the coming month to determine what we're going to do, what the operations of the plant are. So we already had the meeting for January planned in December and took care of that. We bought extra capacity. We're planning for the worst, and as long as we notify them ahead of time, they can sell off some of that gas ahead of time at a profit to us, and not so much we just hold on to it and release it at a loss. For next month in February, we're planning that we do have to take the wood boiler down for some maintenance on the precipes, and we are also going to be doing our RADAs, or relative accuracy testing. So our gas is going to go up next month. So we're trying to purchase ahead of time and plan for that now. So in the simple gist of it, we shouldn't have any problems.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Stokes?
Do we have a reserve of coal in case polar vortex hits again?
We have roughly 653 tons on site right now that we could use.
3 days?
About 3 days if we run low. I can call Duluth and they can have it here next day if we do need to.
Okay.
And it would obviously be an email to the commission, because coal is roughly about $80 a ton. So that cost would have to come with some acceptance of the cost of that. But within a day we could get more there, but we do have around 650 tons on site.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Okay. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Vales, support by Commissioner Stokes to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everybody.